Hello, and welcome back to Positive Impact for Mind and Body. It's Nicole Fevrier Davis, your psychic trainer. And, it's interesting. There's a lot of fascinating facts and wonderful scientific studies that are being tossed around out there. But what I really wanted to touch base with, the beautiful people on Positive Impact, as well as my own website and YouTube channel, was the thought about disease and how people, kind of always defer to the Western Medical Association, which is fine. Early disease detection testing is truly, truly important. I'm not saying it's not, but what I have found is that when I teach people the body scan, many people have been able to kind of identify issues, imbalances, and diseases earlier than a CAT scan or an X-ray would. And so I have like all kinds of testimonials here about people who figured out that they had hypothyroidism, had irritable bowel syndrome, had discovered that the ache in their lower back, the consistent ache in their lower back, was actually because of vertebrae that were out of alignment. And that's just a sampling of a few of the things that you can discover with a body scan. More recently, I have been able to help people kind of attain goals and reconnect with their soul and their soul purpose. In many cases, their soulmate. It was a really wonderful tool to be able to share with people and help them discover, those imbalances early on physically. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, I have a predisposition for colon cancer, or because, my uncle had it, or my mother had it, or whatever disease it is. You pick the disease, you pick the relative, there's a predisposition. But what I have personally witnessed is that it is less of a physical predisposition as it is an emotional, mental predisposition. And I'm not just saying like, oh, if you think it'll happen, it will happen. It's not about that. What it is that there are certain emotional responses to things in life that tell me that you are predisposed to cancer, that you are predisposed to, like I said, lower back issues that make you predisposed to ADHD, or obesity or weight gain. And this is something that no one in the medical industry is really talking about, because they haven't made that scientific connection with the synaptic connections in their brain and emotion. So, this is a really, really quick, just little lesson about how your emotions play in your body. So if we make that association, if we say, okay, we know that if we are super angry or stressed out anger-wise, it's going to constrict blood vessels. It's going to restrict information in the nervous system. It's going to decrease respiratory rate. It's going to increase blood pressure. So when we look at it that way, then we also look at things like the quantum field and how our bodies interact with the quantum field. When we're looking at things that we're able to create or control or have some influence over, we want to pay attention to those kinds of emotions, because those emotions are the very ones that are playing on our cells. So every time someone says to me, oh, this person, oh, that's my son shoveling in the background. Do you see him? He's doing a great job. Little aside. When someone says to me, oh, someone I know has passed away from cancer, I know that they've probably had a really rough time with the thought of anger in their lives, and how to express anger, and how to feel heard, and how to feel, I want to say, justified, and maybe even vulnerable. They don't know how to do that. So that is more of a predicator to me, of someone who is predisposed to cancer or building cancerous cells. Same holds true with depression. Now, depression, a lot of people will say that's hereditary as well. No, it's a learned habit. And yes, there are certain parts of the brain that are affected, neurologically are affected by depression. But that state also, that emotion, lends itself to things like obesity, weight gain. If you are not making that mental emotional connection to what you're actually looking for in your life, so let's say you don't feel heard, you don't feel as though you've really found your life purpose, or you don't feel valuable or worthy, like somehow your parents really didn't give you that attention that you needed and wanted so desperately as a kid, that is all going to play on the neurosynaptic connections in your brain and start to mess with those neurotransmitters. So in other words, all the things you need to feel motivated, dopamine, to feel excited and happy about life, serotonin and oxytocin. Yes. I was going to say oxycodone. No, don't go there. Don't go there. All these brain chemicals that actually help you maintain a healthy weight are out of balance now. So my theory, the way I work with my clients when I give them a psychic reading, what I'm doing is I'm actually assessing and evaluating what we need to do in their mind and emotion, their lives, in order to start creating more of a balance in the brain chemistry, so that when they choose to make a change in their diet or their exercise program, they're going to be far more successful, faster, and be able to sustain it for longer periods of time. Sometimes things like having a conversation with your mom that you didn't feel loved, or whatever it is, you pick the scenario. Maybe it was your father, like not feeling recognized or valued by your father. Whatever the scenario is, when you are able to speak your truth about it, all of a sudden the brain chemistry starts to come back into balance. That's why people who, if you've ever noticed, people who gain a lot of weight in relationships, and then all of a sudden you found, they got divorced and they lost like 40 pounds. That's why. Because their brain chemistry was able to come back into balance. The depression no longer existed because the person that they left, the reason why they were depressed, is out of their lives now. Does this make sense? I hope this is making sense. If you have any questions, please type it in the chat and I will try to pick it up. So that's the second emotion, right? So we talked about anger, we talked about depression, how those two things can act on brain chemistry and create imbalances enough to start to replicate the wrong cell formations that create things like obesity, cancer, all the physical manifestations of imbalance. The third emotion, and like I said, this is a very, very quick lesson. The third emotion that I find most frequently in disease or imbalance within the metabolism or the body, the physical body, is fear. And you can, with any of these emotions, you can attach any 8 other emotions that are attached to that. Like anger, you have frustration and anxiety and things like that attached to fear. And you can attach a number of other, but there are 3 core emotions that I find to be kind of consistent in terms of the readings that I give that are linked with disease. So the fear one, right? We're talking about the root chakra. And we're talking about survival. And fear increases anxiety. So that increases blood pressure, heart rate. You start breathing less deeply, more shallow, up underneath the clavicles, the collarbones. And you're starting to initiate a nervous system response that is hypersensitive and starts to react that way. So those brain chemicals then fall out of balance. GABA is out of control. And don't ask me to say it. I always say it wrong. It's GABA aminobutyric acid. Hey, I got it right. I can't believe I did that. GABA may be out of control. Obviously, cortisol is going to go up if you have fear. These are all things that are inherent in someone who is obese, right? These combinations and insulin levels out of whack. Maybe you become insulin resistant. So, and I'm just using this as an example. I'm not naming any names, but when I work with people who are obese, I immediately look at their childhood and their teens and 20s to see if there's any history of abuse or trauma, because those are the subconscious beliefs and experiences that created emotions that started creating this chaos in the brain chemistry. So when people say to me, you know, I'm getting chemo, and let's say this, there is a very good reason why Western medicine exists. And I'm not stating that, because once you have kind of experienced the pain timeline, and that's something else I talk about in my workbook, but once you've experienced that pain timeline and you've kind of like moved past the point where you're still creating, you know, you're in the creation period of whatever you want to create in your life. And in some cases it's disease, to get your attention on something. Western medicine is super, super miraculous. It helps us regain a little bit of control over the physicality of what we've created. However, I feel that my job is to try to capture people before they get to that point. That's why I opted not to be a Reiki practitioner in a hospital, which I had the opportunity to do. And I was talked out of it, quite honestly, by the holistic director. And I chose to go back and work with the healthier population that's borderline, like wanting to learn about their mind-body connection, wanting to be healthy and have a different behavior towards and responses towards life events, et cetera, and other people in their lives. But it's also not just people like myself giving information to the public and helping educate the public and giving more of the tools necessary that we can maintain a healthier lifestyle emotionally, mentally, and physically. But there also has to be, you know, an acknowledgement that we are all responsible for whatever happens, you know, in our body, minds, and spirits. I worked with, in my other life, when I worked in television as a wardrobe stylist, I worked with a very famous woman who was highly, highly offended at the thought that anger was a part of the creation of cancer. And she just thought it was an evil disease that no one should have. And it was the devil working in people. And that's not how the mind and body were set up. The mind and body were designed specifically to be this integrated, fully integrated. So like no part of you would be left out, fully integrated communication system. And that's all it is. And we get that feedback from things like our blood pressure, like heart rate, like how well our internal organs are working, how well we are able to communicate, how well that affects the thyroid and the thymus. You know, these are all things that I talk about consistently over and over and over again that I find interesting. Now that was, okay, so that was like, let's see, that was, I think, well over 20 years ago. Fast forward to now. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the love, whoever loved that. Fast forward to now, what we're looking at is, you know, this awakening. And I have to laugh, you know, because people will come up to me and like, oh, I'm a Reiki practitioner too. And I'm like, oh, all excited, you know, and I read people too. And I've been doing this since 1980, since 1980, you know, even before then, I used to give readings when I was 16 years old. I'm older now, but it's nice to see this exciting, I want to say, rebirth of this intuitive ability, or this intuitive curiosity, I want to say, about how to be healthy. And what's exciting about it is exactly what I've been trying to do for the last 10 years is merging, synchronizing our souls with the science of being healthy. Because I think the more we know and understand how our minds and bodies work, right? You would take a second look at being super angry over something. You'd be like, these the brain chemistry that's associated with anger really isn't going to make me any healthier. So, and on a physical level, I'm not just talking about emotional level or a mental level, physically, it's going to start to create a chain reaction from the brain through the rest of the body that will create imbalance and give me a lot more problems later on. So do I really want to continually respond to people in that same manner, whether it's anger, depression, sadness, or fear? So when we have that information, then we can make better, more enlightened, right, decisions about relationships, about work, about our lives, and move forward in a more, I want to say, not just enlightened, but consciously aware. And I think those terms are always kind of bantered around very loosely. And I don't think people really understand that, what we're looking at is taking back our power. When we take responsibility for something, ourselves including our cellular makeup, our obesity, our cancer, our irritable bowel syndrome, digestive issues, when we take back the responsibility for those things, we're actually empowering ourselves. And we can empower ourselves through things like the body scan. We can empower ourselves through things like meditation, through journaling, through truth talking. And this is the truth of you piece of the title that I was talking about. It's interesting in our culture that we have been raised, especially women, and talk to me if you feel the same way. Hey, Stephanie, my love, it was me. Oh, I love you, Stephanie. It's good to see you, honey. We'll have to get together again soon. I got to tell a freaking great story about getting together. But anyway, when we are actually taking responsibility for our own emotional state, then we're saying, you know what, I have a choice here, and I'm going to use my own personal will to create something different than what I've been creating up to this point. And that is super empowering, but it's also the truth. When I say the truth of you, I am literally speaking about what is important to you. And this is where things like Be a Body Psychic and the body scans become so highly customized and personalized, is because this is information that only you can relate to. So, your history as a child, never seeing your dad growing up because you're always traveling for work and whatnot, versus someone else who always had their parents there, but maybe wanted to experience a sense of real compassion and love from them. Maybe they're a little austere or cold, whatever the case may be. Your story is different than anyone else's. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Like, take this pill, do this drug, do that workout and that diet, and it's going to work for everyone. That's bullshit. Okay. And like I said before, the fitness and weight loss industries will have you believe that this is going to work for you forever. No, what it's going to do is keep you forever paying for that fitness service or that supplement forever. What we really want to do, hey, it's Papa. Nice. Oh, I love you too. Hello, Papa. Sorry, with my I'm so old, right? I should fix my eyes with my new attitude, right? When we take the time to really take a look at the emotions that we're having and be responsible in the moment for those emotions. And I am right here, right now, speaking to you as a mom who's also trying to teach her sons this. I have two sons in their 20s, one is 15, and this is a challenge from youth, and we're consistently going back to, what's my truth here? Why am I angry? Why do I feel used? Why do I feel sad? Why is this scenario giving me anxiety? We're always checking in, always asking those questions over and over and over again. Yeah, thanks, Papa. So when we ask those questions, though, like I said, we're empowering ourselves. We're giving ourselves the opportunity to create something new and different. And that's the truth of you. That's the truth of who you are. You have that power. You have that ability. It's just that no one told you that it would matter in your life. No one gave you the language that you needed to speak. It's like going to a different country, right? In the body scan, you're going into a different country because it has a different language. So when we start to analyze and break down all the symbols, all the colors, all the shapes, all the words or people that are in each power center, then we start to really realize, oh, so I respond like that now because of something that happened when I was 13. You know what I'm saying? Does this make sense? But there's nothing more exciting than seeing someone really turn it around, change their behavior because they changed their mood and their attitude and their response to a stimulus. And you'll notice, haven't you all noticed this? The stimulus will come up over and over and over again in your life until you figure out how not to respond like that. Someone said to me, I can't believe, all my lower back issues are from my mother. I'm like, well, let's talk to your body about it. So we did a little truth talking session, something that I created with my clients, and we spoke to her back about her mother's relationship with her. And sure enough, the lower back pain evaporated. Now, this is the key. It's beautiful. Let's see. Papa said something. I have your education respects. Oh, I love your education respects. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, I try, I really, really feel committed on a soul level to giving this information on any platform I can. So thank you, Papa. I appreciate it. But when she spoke with her body, the pain, like I said, immediately evaporated. However, now, and this is the trick, right? It's very easy to replicate an old pattern, correct? So sometimes, even when we hit on the truth of us and we're speaking our truth and we're active in our truth and we're, being true to ourselves, sometimes it takes a little longer, or you have to have something, what I call a subconscious conversation with that emotion, that response, in order to make it less and less and less of a focus, and your new habit, right? The happiness, the joy, the love, to take its place. That piece of it is even a little more tricky than just truth talking with the body. So just be patient with yourself when you want to create something new. Thanks, Papa. Just be patient with yourself when you want to create something new. It is not simply going to happen because, and I hear a lot of these catchphrases, because of your willpower, because your mindset is right now. It's not about that. It's about digging deep. And if you don't have that ability to do that on your own, I highly, highly, strongly suggest that you reach out to someone who's a professional that can help you. I have seen a lot of people struggle through the years. Some actually did a combination of like energy work and, in other words, work with me and a psychologist. But a lot of people were like, what you've done in this 1 hour has been better than 10 years of therapy. So it depends on your personality and what you can expect or anticipate to accomplish on your own. I know a lot of people, not a lot of people, let's just say it's kind of divided. I've done groups of these classes before, and I would say a third of them have difficulty in releasing their beliefs around their emotional responses quickly. So then that's another belief that we have to work on, and we have to get back to that point and take a look at that. Why do you feel that you're incapable of complete and total emotional transformation right now? What's stopping you from that? Why do you feel like that is not going to happen for you in this next hour? So that's the kind of conversations that we have in one-on-one sessions. I'll just say that kind of conversation isn't going to happen in a group setting. Like, for instance, the Be a Body Psychic workshop that I'm teaching, the webinar that I'm teaching now, that is a private conversation. You may want to schedule something one-on-one with. However, anything will help. If you're stuck, if you are not feeling energized, if you don't have good weight health, if you're feeling like you are, constantly being used or afraid or angry, this is your wake-up call. Hello. This is your wake-up call. This is an opportunity for you to take a look at the underlying, and I'm not saying the surface beliefs and emotions, because that everyone, wants to focus on the positive. I'm talking about the underlying things, get some help, and tackling what is the truth of you underneath it all. And you're going to see that there are specific incidences where that disease or that problem that you're having coincides with this emotion. And I can't really get into it now because, you'd have to write it down and I'd have to show you diagrams, but it does affect the neurochemistry in your brain, and that does have an effect on your physical body. So that is the long and short of it. That's why I don't advise when someone comes to me for weight loss. I know they're not looking for weight loss. They're looking to be loved and acknowledged and have greater self-confidence and less stress, or whatever their combination is, or not to be angry anymore, or not to be sarcastic anymore. Whatever that combination is, they're asking me for something else. So I help them get that. And then we take a look at what they're eating. And very often, just as that example, and as in terms of diet and exercise for weight loss specifically, they'll be craving certain specific foods. Well, again, let's address the emotional standard of sadness and depression and shame. Let's address that, and let's transition the brain chemistry to balance. And then let's see if you still crave the chips at 6 o'clock at night. You know what I'm saying? So those are the things I really, really feel very passionately that everyone should know across the board. That being said, of course, shameless plug again, Nicole, Be a Body Psychic workshop webinar I'm still taking registrants, because the first week is basically the free download you get when you text body-mind to 33777. You will also have an opportunity to, like I said, get 4 webinar sessions where I teach you these concepts in a little more depth and detail. We're also going to be doing live visualizations, as well as the 4 visualizations on the CD, and the workbook you get for free if you sign up before February 12th, this Friday. The price goes up, I will say, over time. So, if you want to do this, I do this sooner rather than later. I'm going to put that link for that page in the chat. But you can also, like I said, text body-mind to 33777. And the last big announcement I have, which I'm so excited about, is that the segment that I did with the doctors. Remember, I told you about the doctors television show? I'm going to be on there Friday, February 19th. So a week later, the week after my deadline for the signups on my Be a Body Psychic webinar, a week later, I will be on the doctors. So I don't know where you are in the world. I know there's people from Florida and Australia and Canada, all over the place. If you look up stations, I think it's the stations tab on the doctor's website, you'll find out where your local area will air the doctor's episode. I'm so excited about that particular piece that, what a rush. I've been working on that for about 1.5 years now and finally have a segment on there. The other thing I wanted to let the local people know in Connecticut, if you're local to Connecticut, I will be interviewed on KC 101.3 on the Adam Rivers show. I believe we're recording it tomorrow, and it's going to play throughout the day tomorrow. So hopefully you can catch me on there too. Again, these are 2 big goals that I kind of was able to tackle and attain through working with my mind-body connection. And I really believe that every single one of you have something precious in you that your mind and body want you to know. So daily, you should write on the top of a journal, what's my mind-body message? And then work on yourself from there. That being said, here we go. I'm putting on the glasses so I can do this like an old lady. You could text body-mind to 33777 to get your free body scan download. You can also feel free to go to my website, mindbodymastery.org, if you just want to like scope it out a little bit. The other thing you could do, if you look at past podcasts here on Positive Impact or my YouTube channel or my Facebook page on Mind Body Mastery, you can also see a live reading with a woman named Tony. It's been an interesting ride trying to get people to sign up for a live free reading on this podcast. Maybe it's not a great time, I don't know. But at any rate, those are where you can get me. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Nicole's MBM. That being said, thank you, my audience of 2, for joining me today. I really, really had a good time, and I will see you. Oh, and I apologize. Tracy Schroeder was supposed to be on today with her diet book, and she talks about emotions and your connection with food, which I think is important. But she'll be on next week, not today. She'll be on next Thursday, I believe. I'm going on her podcast now at 3:00. So I will see you all on Tuesday. And if you do want a free psychic reading on here, just message me. You can contact me via PM, Instagram, DM, any of those methods, or on my website. And let me know you would like a free reading, and I'll put it on this podcast. All right. I love you guys. Enjoy and love your mind and body.